Happy Helldorado Day. Happy SpiritWorld Day. The new album by SpiritWorld, Helldorado, has officially dropped, and I must say, my expectations were high after the first single, Western Stars in the Apocalypse, dropped. But upon re-listening to Deathwestern about 400 times, my expectations kind of scaled back. Deathwestern, in my opinion, 10 out of 10 album. Perfect 10. Hardcore, thrash, in your face, blazing tracks. Every single one of them was a banger. Their first album, Pagan Rhythms, really good album as well. Love that one, but Deathwestern was like masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. So I hear the first track that gets released off Helldorado, and I'm like, yeah, this is an absolute banger, which was Western Stars in the Apocalypse, amongst their best songs. So that gave me a lot of hope. Then they dropped the next single, which was Abilene Grime, and they did a little bit of that SpiritWorld demo sound, which if you look them up on streaming and go to the EPs, there's a demo, pink SpiritWorld logo, backdrop of like Vegas or Utah or something in the background. Really good, like Against Me style punk, rockabilly, western stuff. Pretty good, and I like it. And I had heard from some interviews that Stu Folsom, the head guy over there at SpiritWorld, was leaning towards making an album like that demo. So I was kind of disappointed a little, because again, Deathwestern is a banger of an album, and I would have been completely fine if SpiritWorld would have done Deathwestern Part 2 and just given us another straight boom, slap in the face, thrash metal, Slayer inspired banger. This is definitely my favorite band of my 40s. I go by decades. I'm in my 40s. This is my 40s band. And again, I'm going to say, like, I knew there was a bit more of a scaled back, not quite punch you in the throat sound that was going to happen here. So yesterday, before the album dropped, which the vinyl came yesterday, I had relegated myself to be a little disappointed, while also I'm sure I was still going to enjoy it, but Deathwestern set the bar really high. Anyways, let's start talking about the 10 tracks that total 28 minutes, which at first you're going to think, wow, what a short runtime. But Deathwestern was 32 or 33 minutes maybe, and 11 tracks, or it might have been 36. Hold on, let me just double check here. 36 minutes, 11 songs. So we got 10 tracks on Helldorado coming in at 28 minutes. Pagan Rhythms was 9 songs, 31 minutes. So this isn't exactly anything out of the ordinary for this band. I'm pretty sure Stu grew up on punk, folk, thrash, 30-minute albums, no problem at all. Again, let's just go full force. First track, Abilene Grime. Let's get the album art out of there and get our player up. So this starts out with some funky western, like I said, Against Me style vibes, demo vibes. I've never thought that I could be brought back down to my knees. And then we're going to absolutely change this over to the SpiritWorld Deathwestern sound within the same track, which I love stuff like that. That's progression to me. Banger of a track. When it first came out, I was a little unsure, but it grew on me big time. So this track, I'm definitely going to give a solid score of an 8 out of 10. Could be even higher in the future. It's a good one. Next up, we've got No Vacancy in Heaven. Hadn't heard this one until the album dropped, and it is a banger. Dude, this is what I love about SpiritWorld. This track is an absolute fire starter. I'm going to give it belongs amongst their best tracks. This one's a 10 out of 10 for me. Then we've got the track that started the whole thing, that let me know an album was coming from SpiritWorld. Again, favorite band of my 40s, Western Stars and the Apocalypse. Yeah, I'm getting a little goofy here, but it is an absolute banger. This belongs in the conversation of their best songs. 10 out of 10. And here's where things get a little hairy. So we got our first full track without any thrash to it, and it's Bird's Song of Death. This song is pretty good, but there is a section of very punk-like woes, which sounds very, very familiar, not from SpiritWorld, but from punk albums of the past. But those woes are like too prominent, and they're too up front. If they dialed back the volume on just the woes and made them kind of background to the music, I think they'd work better. But they're so up front that they honestly don't work for me. I love that sound. Those don't work for me. This one is sadly getting the 5 out of 10 treatment from me. Just, it's a little off, a little wonky. I like the music. It's just the lyrics, the singing are just not quite there. Then we move on to Prayer Lips. Another slow banger, but one that shocked the hell out of me. Check this out. I'll skip a little forward.
Let it go. And when I find you again.
Maybe one of my favorite tracks on the album. So, SpiritWorld's just kind of proven they don't have to be in your face thrash, straight up, punch you in the throat to do a good song. Which the demo proves that too, but I love this switch up. I'm loving the tempo and the flow of this album so far. Would I have wanted Deathwestern 2? Sure. I would have loved it. But I also love growth. I love change. And I love hearing what a band can do. And Prayer Lips, this one's going to be on repeat quite a bit. I really, really, really love it for some reason. It's a 10 out of 10. And then after those two softer tracks, we got Waiting on the Reaper, which if you can tell by the song title, is not going to be soft as Charmin. It's going to be gravel. Now this song, which is a banger, is not the first time, but primarily the biggest time I noticed a little bit of riff recycling from Deathwestern. some of the dive bombs, some of the chugs. Almost like a B-side from Deathwestern. Good song, no problems with it. Love that this is what follows up the two slower songs. I'll give this one a solid 7 out of 10. It's good. It's real good. It's not one of their best, but it's real good. Next up, we've got Oblivion, which keeps the pace going. We've also got guest spots from Rise Against Zach Blair and Black Braid vocalist Ska. Hope I got that right. That's a little bit of recycled riffage from Deathwestern, in my opinion. Good song. Not one of the strongest on the album. It has its moments where the new riffage sounds fantastic. I like the guest vocal spot. Dig it. I like it overall. Not one of their stronger tracks, though, in my opinion, just because of the recycled riffage a little bit. The guest spot helps, but I'm going to give this one a 6. Next, we've got Cleansing, which is a mostly instrumental track with some pagan rhythm like background vocals from just spoken pieces from something. I'm not sure. But this is a really nice track that just further adds to the pace and the flow of the album. And it's a nice breather after getting thrash punched in the throat. That's nice. And it gets heavy. Really good mix up. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Adds to the bass, adds to the flow, musically fantastic. And as you guessed, you know what has to happen after we slow it down. Stigmata Scars is next. That's not recycled riffage. That's a banger. Not yet one of my favorite tracks, but like Deathwestern, over time, new tracks jump to the top of the pack. Stigmata Scars could be one of those tracks. Right now, I'm going to give it total banger status and give it a 9. It's a really good original new track. The album says, "Peace out, folks," with the track Annihilism, and this is a calm ender. I like when albums go for the calm ender after punching you a few times. This is nice. We get some different vocal style here too.
I took a long walk down to the river, gotta wash my baby's blood off my hands. I lost the red and I lost my mind. Then I finally get to what
Picks up a little bit. Again, a lot of Against Me style vibes with that Western punkabilly kind of vibe. I love it, man. I love that they ended the album on this note. I love that they switched this album up so much. I'll talk about that more in a second, but I'm going to give this track a solid 8. All right, you total all my scores, divide it by the number of tracks, and this album's an 8.1, which I told my buddy Lawrence, we're both big SpiritWorld fans. I told him initially after the first listen, I was like, I'm going to just jump to, this is not scoring individually. It's like, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Going through the tracks, doing my score, I was pretty close. It's an 8.1, One Bite Everybody Knows the Rules kind of album. And yeah, I will say this, Deathwestern, 10 out of 10 for me. One of the best albums I have heard ever. I loved it. It became my thing in my 40s, like I said. And then hearing this one, initially after giving that first score, which it's an 8.1, my comparison was Deathwestern is SpiritWorld's Back in Black, and Helldorado is there for those about to rock. A very strong follow-up to what is an epic all-time album for me. They're that good in my opinion, but it depends on what kind of music you're into. I love punk, I love thrash, I love hardcore, and I actually used to be a huge Against Me fan, and I kind of love that clean, slightly distorted, Western rockabilly guitar. SpiritWorld balls all this up and does it perfectly. And this album shows some true growth from them while also going back to their roots, just mixing it all up, making something brand new. I bet this album grows on me and eventually becomes a 9 out of 10. I don't think it'll ever be bigger than Deathwestern for me, but a hell of a follow-up. A fantastic job following up what was one of my favorite albums of all time. Helldorado, 8.1, and that's just off 2 listens. It'll grow on me, and it'll probably get better, I think. Who knows? We might even like the bird song better after a while, but absolute banger, fantastic job, did not disappoint. I'll be back soon with another review of a band that released an album a week or 2 ago that also lived up to the hype. But for now, peace.